Good afternoon. This is All India Radio and I am Abhishek Mukhopadhyay and with me is Anuja Kumar with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to launch multiple development projects worth over 1,800 crore rupees in Varanasi today, to also inaugurate Akhil Bharatiya Shiksha Samagam on implementation of the National Education Policy. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar meets his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi in Bali on the sidelines of the G20 Foreign Ministers meeting, calls for early resolution of all outstanding issues along LAC in eastern Ladakh. 6th Deputy National Security Advisor level meeting of Colombo's Security Conclave underway at Kochi. Indian economy is performing far better than other economies despite global constraints, says Chairman of Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council, Dr. Vivek Debroy. Annual 5-day Hajj pilgrimage begins today in Saudi Arabia after a 2-year gap due to COVID-19 pandemic. World Kiswahili Language Day being celebrated today. In Wimbledon tennis, former champion Simona Halep to face Elina Rybakina of Kazakhstan in the women's singles semi-finals today. Ons Jabeur to meet Tatiana Maria in another semis. In badminton, PV Sindhu advances to the quarterfinals of the Malaysia Masters in Kuala Lumpur. And in women's cricket, India set a victory target of 256 for Sri Lanka in the third and final ODI at Pallekele International Cricket Stadium in Kandy. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate and lay the foundation stone of multiple development projects worth over 1,800 crore rupees in Varanasi today. These projects are focused on improving infrastructure in the city and enhancing ease of living for the common people. The Prime Minister will inaugurate Akhil Bharatiya Shiksha Samagam on the implementation of the National Education Policy 2020. The 3-day event beginning today has been organized by the Union Education Ministry. It will provide a platform to policymakers and academic leaders to deliberate, share the experiences and discuss the roadmap for effective implementation of the National Education Policy. Uttar Pradesh Governor Anandiben Patel, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath and Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan will also attend the conference. More from a correspondent.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Rudraksh Convention Center where he will inaugurate Akhil Bharatiya Shiksha Samagam. At around 4 p.m. the Prime Minister will reach Dr. Sampurnanand Sports Stadium to inaugurate projects. Some of the projects to be inaugurated include various initiatives under Smart City Mission, conversion of diesel and petrol engines of 500 boats into CNG, tourist facility and market complex at the Shashwamedh Ghat, construction of houses for EWS and other infrastructure projects. Prime Minister will also lay the foundation stone of Phase 1 of redevelopment works of Sports Stadium at Sigra. Around 2,000 sports persons across the state will be present on the occasion. Aditya Shukla, AIR News, Varanasi.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will attend the first Arun Jaitley Memorial Lecture AJML at 6:30 p.m. in New Delhi tomorrow. The Prime Minister will also address the gathering during the event. Department of Economic Affairs has organized the first Arun Jaitley Memorial Lecture in recognition of his invaluable contribution to the nation. The keynote address at the first Arun Jaitley Memorial Lecture will be delivered by Senior Minister from Government of Singapore, Tharman Shanmugaratnam, on growth through inclusivity, inclusivity through growth. Prime Minister Modi will also interact with the delegates participating in the Kautilya Economic Conclave KEC, a 3-day event will organize from tomorrow.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar today met his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi in Bali, Indonesia, on the sidelines of the G20 Foreign Ministers meeting. Dr. Jaishankar is on a 2-day official visit to Bali to participate in the G20 Foreign Ministers meeting. During the meeting with Mr. Wang Yi, the External Affairs Minister called for an early resolution of all the outstanding issues along the line of actual control in eastern Ladakh. Recalling the disengagement achieved in some friction areas, Dr. Jaishankar reiterated the need to sustain the momentum to complete disengagement from all the remaining areas to restore peace and tranquility in the border areas. He also reaffirmed the importance of fully abiding by bilateral agreements and protocols and the understandings reached between the two ministers during their previous conversations. In this regard, both the ministers affirmed that the military and diplomatic officials of the two sides should continue maintaining regular contact and looked forward to the next round of senior commanders meeting at an early date. Dr. Jaishankar reiterated that India-China relationship is best served by observing the three mutuals: mutual respect, mutual sensitivity and mutual interests. During the visit, Dr. Jaishankar is expected to hold several bilateral meetings with his counterparts from other G20 member states and invited countries. In Kerala, the 6th Deputy National Security Advisor level meeting of the Colombo Security Conclave is presently underway at Kochi. The 7-member Indian delegation is being led by the Deputy National Security Advisor, Vikram Misri. Besides India, delegations from Maldives, Sri Lanka and Mauritius are participating in the meet. Representatives from Bangladesh and Seychelles are also attending the meet as observers. In the opening session, the delegates called for greater cooperation amongst the member countries on issues like maritime safety and security, counter-terrorism and radicalization, combating trafficking and organized crime, and petroleum of critical infrastructure, among other things. The Colombo Security Conclave has been formed to foster cooperation on maritime safety and security, counter-terrorism and radicalization, combating trafficking and organized crime, protection of critical infrastructure, besides providing humanitarian assistance and disaster relief.
Over 198 crore 33 lakh COVID vaccine doses have been administered in the country so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. The Union Health Ministry said over 9,95,000 vaccine doses were administered to beneficiaries yesterday. A total of 18,930 new COVID cases were recorded in the last 24 hours, as several states and UTs are witnessing surge in the cases. With the increase in the cases, India's active caseload increased to 1,19,000 and recovery rate declined to 98.52%. The Health Ministry said a total of 14,650 COVID patients recovered in the last 24 hours. 28 deaths were also reported during the period. The COVID precautionary dose to eligible beneficiaries will now be administered after 6 months from the date of administration of the second dose. The National Technical Advisory Group on Immunization has recommended revising the duration from the existing 9 months to 6 months. Secretary, Health and Family Welfare Ministry, Rajesh Bhushan, has written a letter to all states and union territories in this regard. The Health Ministry said corresponding changes have been made in the COVID system to facilitate the new dispensation. We spoke to Chairman, National COVID Task Force, Dr. N.K. Arora, regarding the decision.
Reduce the interval for precaution dose from 9 months to 6 months. It has been seen both in some Indian studies and international studies that after 2 primary doses of COVID vaccine, the protection layer which we have around us, it is a matter of great pride that this country has already given almost 200 crore doses so far. And that is the most important reason that we have not seen the bad effects of Omicron or third wave of COVID in our country, because most of our adults are immunized. And therefore, immunization is key to our protection, not only now, but in future. If any new variant of COVID comes, the protection dose will provide at least some protection from there.
Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia has assumed the charge of Ministry of Steel in addition to his existing portfolio. Mr. Scindia took over from Ramchandra Prasad Singh, who had resigned yesterday from Union Council of Ministers. In a tweet, Mr. Scindia said that he will do his best to fulfill the aspirations of the country by discharging this responsibility given by the top leadership to the fullest potential. The News Services Division of All India Radio will bring an exclusive interview with Chairman of the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council, Dr. Bibek Debroy, in the program Spotlight tonight. He said the Indian economy has been doing well despite global constraints.
India is certainly performing far better than many other countries. If you look around the globe, it did far better even in the midst of the pandemic. So it's in that sweet spot compared to what our aspirations are. It would have been desirable that India grew faster. But given the constraints set globally, I think it would be unrealistic to expect anything more than about 8% as real rate of growth. I'm not saying that will be the rate of growth this year. I'm saying that should be the aspirational level.
Dr. Bibek Debroy said that according to the Periodic Labour Force Survey, there has been a decline in poverty from 2011-12 period to 2020-21.
We have the PLFS. Because prices have increased, using the Tendulkar poverty line, which was based on 2011-12 prices, one has to make reasonable assumptions about inflation. We use the consumer price index and jack up what the poverty line would be today. And then you can compute using PLFS what is the poverty level in India today. And I repeat, this means what percentage of the population is below the poverty line. I will not give the precise figures. There is no need to bore the listener with those figures. But generally the trend is from 2011 to 12 to this PLFS, which is 2020-21, poverty has declined.
The interview can be heard on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:15 p.m. The program will also be available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official.
Defence Ministry has approved 3 private sector banks to provide financial services and overseas procurement. In line with further opening of allocation of government business to private sector banks by the Department of Financial Services, Ministry of Defence has assigned 3 private sector banks, HDFC Bank Limited, ICICI Bank and Axis Bank, to provide the letter of credit and direct bank transfer business for overseas procurement by the Ministry. MOUs in this connection have been signed with each of these 3 banks. Till now, only authorized public sector banks were utilized to provide these services to MOD. With this, 3 private banks have also been allowed for the first time to provide financial services for overseas procurement by MOD.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to launch multiple development projects worth over 1,800 crore rupees in Varanasi today. To also inaugurate Akhil Bharatiya Shiksha Samagam on implementation of national education policy. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar meets his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi in Bali on the sidelines of the G20 Foreign Ministers meeting. Calls for early resolution of all outstanding issues along LAC in eastern Ladakh. 6th Deputy National Security Advisor level meeting of Colombo Security Conclave underway at Kochi. Indian economy is performing far better than other economies despite global constraints, says Chairman of Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council, Dr. Bibek Debroy. Annual 5-day Hajj pilgrimage begins in Saudi Arabia after a 2-year gap due to COVID-19 pandemic. World Kiswahili Language Day being celebrated today. In Wimbledon tennis, former champion Simona Halep to face Elena Rybakina of Kazakhstan in women's singles semi-finals today. Ons Jabeur to meet Tatiana Maria in another semis. In badminton, PV Sindhu advances to quarterfinals of Malaysia Masters in Kuala Lumpur. And in women's cricket, India set a victory target of 256 for Sri Lanka in the 3rd and final ODI at Pallakele International Cricket Stadium in Kandy. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
कंपटीशन की अगर आप कर रहे हैं तैयारी तो उनके लिए ऑल इंडिया रेडियो पर हम लाए हैं अभ्यास, एक ऐसा कार्यक्रम जिसमें आप पूछेंगे सवाल व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर या फिर ईमेल करेंगे abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर और हमारे विशेषज्ञ देंगे इसका जवाब। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
बर्फ से ढके पहाड़,
हवा के साथ झूमते चीड़ चिनार,
झीलों पर तैरते शिकारे,
हरी भरी घाटियों के दिलकश नजारे।
आकाशवाणी समाचार आपके लिए लेकर आया है जम्मू कश्मीर विशेष श्रृंखला एक नई सुबह।
हम बात करते हैं विकास की, निवेश की,
पर्यटन की, संस्कृति की
और रोज हो रहे बदलावों की। FM गोल्ड पर सुनिए हर शुक्रवार रात 9:15 पर आकाशवाणी समाचार की विशेष प्रस्तुति
जम्मू कश्मीर एक नई सुबह।
Welcome back. You're listening to the Midday News. About 1 million pilgrims from across the world are converging at Mina in Saudi Arabia as the annual 5-day Hajj pilgrimage began today. More than 79,000 pilgrims from India are participating in the pilgrimage after a gap of 2 years due to COVID-19 pandemic. The pilgrims began their journey from the holy city of Makkah to assemble in Mina. They will spend the night there and move towards the plains of Arafat at dawn tomorrow for the day's main ritual of Hajj, reciting prayers. Only those people are allowed to take part in the pilgrimage who are below 65 years of age and have been vaccinated against COVID-19. A ninth batch of more than 5,000 Amarnath Yatra pilgrims left the Bhagwati Nagar base camp, Jammu, this morning. As many as 4,409
And now let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse
is the birth anniversary of Muhammad Barkatullah, who was born in 1854 in Bhopal. After receiving education in Bhopal, he moved to London for higher education. After the completion of his studies, he lived in Liverpool, England, and worked as a journalist and published articles relating to revolutionary activities and Indian political affairs. During his stay in London, he befriended leading revolutionaries such as Lala Hardayal, Shyamji Krishnavarma, Nasrullah Khan and Raja Mahendra Pratap.
In 1907, he met Madam Bhikaji Cama in the USA. All the while, he continued contributing articles on Indian politics and Muslim-Hindu brotherhood in journals and newspapers of New York City. In February 1909, he shifted his base to Tokyo, Japan, and started a journal titled Islamic Fraternity in 1910, and also taught as professor of Hindustani at the University of Tokyo. From Tokyo, he visited Cairo, Constantinople, and Moscow, and met Shyamji Krishnavarma and other revolutionaries at these places in 1911.
Meanwhile, his anti-British exhortations in the press were so popular and influential that the British government not only banned his write-ups in India, but also pressurized the Japanese authorities to take a hostile view of him. This resulted in the banning of his journal and cancellation of his professorship in 1914. Later, he shifted from Japan to San Francisco, USA, with the hope of furthering the cause of the Ghadar Party, in whose establishment in 1913 he played a pivotal role.
During World War I, he went to Germany and formed the Indian Independence Committee at Berlin in collaboration with Champakaraman Pillai, Lala Hardayal and others. Muhammad Barkatullah moved to Istanbul and established diplomatic relations with the government there. In 1915, he went to Kabul as a member of the Indo-German Mission and founded the first provisional government of India in exile in Kabul on the 1st of December 1915 as its Prime Minister. The local authorities, however, forced it to close down under pressure from the British. Thus, he went back to Germany to resume his journalism.
During 1921, he also attended a 3-day meeting of Indian revolutionaries in Moscow. Barkatullah, along with Shailendranath Ghosh, went to Detroit, USA to attend the United India League's conference in June 1927. He returned back to Europe to attend the Brussels Conference in 1927 and met Jawaharlal Nehru. Returning to the USA, he died in exile in September 1927 at San Francisco and was buried in Sacramento City Cemetery, California. AIR News salutes the great nationalist.
We also remember Ram Singh, who was a resident of Savai Madhopur in Rajasthan. He was a sepoy in the Punjab Regiment of the British Indian Army. He fought in World War II in Malaya and Singapore, but became a prisoner of war in the Japanese hands in 1942. He joined the newly established Indian National Army as a sepoy in its 3rd Guerrilla Regiment. While confronting the British-led Allied forces in Myanmar, he lost his life on the 7th of July 1944. We salute the brave son of the soil.
The 7th of July is also the death anniversary of Naginder Singh. Naginder Singh was born in Ludhiana, Punjab. He was a sepoy in the 8th Punjab Regiment of the British Indian Army. In 1942, he joined the Indian National Army and served as a Havaldar. He was deputed to confront the British in Burma, where he was captured by the enemy and hanged on the 7th of July, 1943. We salute this brave son of the soil.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
World Kiswahili Language Day is being celebrated today. The day is celebrated on the 7th of July every year following a declaration by UNESCO member states in this regard. Kiswahili is one of the most widely spoken languages in Africa and the most widely spoken in sub-Saharan Africa. Kiswahili is also the only African language which is the official language of the African Union. In an exclusive interview to AIR News, High Commissioner of the United Republic of Tanzania to India, Anisa Kapufi Mbega, said that Kiswahili language needs to be nurtured as it reflects African heritage.
Swahili language is a reflection of our African heritage, and therefore we need to nurture it. Africa needs peace and tolerance for its sustainable development, and therefore through Kiswahili we can be able to unite and focus on our vision for the development of our continent and also for the friendly countries of Africa such as India. And with these few words, I just wish them good day in the celebration of Kiswahili Day, and we hope that more and more people will learn Swahili, because Swahili one day might take the place of English.
Global Forgiveness Day is being observed today. The day is observed on 7th of July every year to celebrate goodwill among people, and it gives us a chance to set things right and make our relationships stronger. A report.
Forgiveness is important not only in our relationship but also in personal lives. When we forgive others, it helps us to feel better about ourselves. It can help to heal wounds and create stronger ties between people. It can also reduce our feelings of anger, guilt and resentment. The art of practicing forgiveness after an offense, letting go of your negative emotions, is a key principle taught by all the religions across the globe. In 1994, the Christian Embassy of Christ Ambassadors founded National Forgiveness Day in British Columbia. The day started gaining momentum and was later renamed Global Forgiveness Day. Forgiveness is not always easy. At times, it feels more painful than the wound we suffered to forgive the ones who inflicted it, and yet there is no peace without forgiveness. Varghese PV, AIR News, Delhi.
In Karnataka, incessant and heavy rain continued in Dakshina Kannada, Uttara Kannada, Udupi and Kodagu districts. Education institutions were declared holiday in these districts. Meanwhile, 3 labourers were killed and 2 people were injured after landslip at Mukkuda in Panjikalu village in Dakshina Kannada district today. In Maharashtra, Mumbai and neighbouring Palghar and Thane districts are witnessing heavy rain since last night. Due to intermittent heavy showers, Central and Harbour suburban railway trains were running late. The normal life was disrupted in Palghar and Thane district due to waterlogging at many places. IMD has predicted very heavy rain in Mumbai and Thane within the next few hours.
On to sports. In the Wimbledon tennis tournament, third seed Ons Jabeur and former champion Simona Halep will be in action in the women's singles semi-finals today. Ons Jabeur will meet Tatiana Maria in the first semi-final match, while Simona Halep will clash with Elena Rybakina of Kazakhstan in the second match. In the mixed doubles final, Australian pair of Matthew Ebden and Samantha Stosur will face UK-US pair of Neil Skupski and Desiree Ross-Chick. In the men's doubles semi-finals, US-German pair of Rajiv Ram and Joe Salisbury will take on all-Australian pair of Matthew Ebden and Max Purcell. In the second semi-final, Juan Sebastian Cabal and Robert Farah of Colombia will clash with Nikola Mektic and Mate Pavic of Croatia. In badminton, ace Indian shuttler PV Sindhu entered the quarterfinals of the Malaysia Masters in Kuala Lumpur today. The two-time Olympic medalist Sindhu, who is seeded 7th, beat China's Zhang Yi Man in straight sets 21-12, 21-10 in just 28 minutes in the women's singles second round clash. HS Pranoy is due to play his last 16 match. He will take on Taiwanese Zhu Wei Wang this afternoon. Meanwhile, Indian shuttlers Parupalli Kashyap and Sai Praneeth today bowed out of the tournament. Kashyap lost to Indonesia's Antony Sinusuka Ginting 21-10, 21-15, and Praneeth lost to Li Shifeng of China by 14-21, 17-21.
In women's cricket, India set a victory target of 256 runs for host Sri Lanka in the third and final women's ODI being played at Pallekele International Cricket Stadium in Kandy. Put into bat, the visitors scored 255 runs for the loss of 9 wickets in the stipulated 50 overs. Harmanpreet Kaur was the top scorer with 75 runs, while Pooja Vastrakar gave a contribution of 56 not out and Shefali Verma added 49 runs. Chasing the target, Sri Lanka were 23 for 1 in 5.5 overs when reports last came in. Earlier, Sri Lanka won the toss and elected to field. The Indian team won the first 2 games in contrasting fashion to take an unassailable 2-0 lead in the 3-match series. The visitors had bagged the preceding T20I series 2-1.
The Sensex and the Nifty today climbed more than 0.5% in the afternoon trade. Both stock indices surged amid positive global cues. The Sensex was trading above the 54,000 mark, while the Nifty was trading above 16,000 level. The Sensex gained 388 points or 0.72% to trade at 54,139. The Nifty was also up by 120 points or 0.75% to trade at 16,110 when the reports last came in. In the Forex market, the rupee appreciated 8 paise to trade at 79 rupees and 23 paise against the US dollar in the afternoon deals.
Now let us take a look at the weather update for the day. The national capital Delhi is likely to have gently cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The minimum temperature is recorded at 31 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 37 degrees. Mumbai is expected to have gently cloudy sky with heavy rain. Chennai is likely to have thunderstorm with the rain. Kolkata is likely to have gently cloudy sky with light rain. Srinagar and Muzaffarabad are likely to have partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to launch multiple development projects worth over 1,800 crore rupees in Varanasi today to also inaugurate Akhil Bharatiya Shiksha Samagam on implementation of the National Education Policy. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar meets his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi in Bali on the sidelines of the G20 Foreign Ministers meeting, calls for early resolution of all outstanding issues along LAC in eastern Ladakh. 6th Deputy National Security Advisor level meeting of Colombo's Security Conclave underway at Kochi. Indian economy is performing far better than other economies despite global constraints, says Chairman of Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council, Dr. Bibek Debroy. Annual 5-day Hajj pilgrimage begins in Saudi Arabia after a 2-year gap due to COVID-19 pandemic. World Kiswahili Language Day has been celebrated today. In Wimbledon tennis, former champion Simona Halep to face Elena Rybakina of Kazakhstan in the women's singles semi-finals today. Ons Jabeur to meet Tatiana Maria in another semis. In badminton, PV Sindhu advances to the quarterfinals of Malaysia Masters in Kuala Lumpur. And in women's cricket, India set a victory target of 256 for Sri Lanka. And with that, we end the Midday News.